Okay, just so you guys know what I was talking about, this is a rotor mounted. Well, I haven't tightened it up yet. In fact, I was taking it apart so I could show you. Uh, this is a this is a Razor scooter motor mounted vertically. Um, Here you can see the base plate off the Razor scooter motor is right there. So what I have here is a piece of plywood with uh, the biggest, thickest L brackets I could find. Um, they're pretty thick steel. In fact, I think they're kind of like this right here. um, that I got. It's just a piece of angle iron, and it's bolted down to the bottom plate, and then the Razor scooter motor is bolted to it, and then the rotor sits on top like this. Gets clamped down, and away we go. Now, if you have access to, I was picking up these little. I went down to the store, the appliance store, and I got a bunch of these little pump motors from people that they were throwing them away, and I worked the deal with them that anytime a pump motor came in, they'd let me know, and I got them so that there we go, they would fit between two of these upright bolts, and then I would put a plate down here and bolt it down tight, and then the pump motors would would fit. The rotor goes right in there between the pieces. Now, one of the things I did do, and haven't done it to this one in particular, was I would clamp this in a vise, and then I would take the Dremel tool and I would cut that tip off right there on both sides. Just cut it off with the Dremel tool to widen the gap in here so that I had a little bit bigger gap and I didn't have to worry so much about wobble on my rotor. If you look at this, if I can get it off of here again, I shouldn't have put it back on. And I'm going to lay that on there and put this back on because I don't want to lose parts, because all of these things I made specifically for specific things. Okay, if you look at the air gap on this thing from the side, and this is a little tricky to do with one hand while I'm filming, but there is your air gap on your rotor. And what you really want is the magnets going in between there. So these were rotors that I made for something else, and as you can see, the magnet should be out closer to the rim, and these big 2-inch Neos probably aren't the best magnets for this, and they're kind of a waste, but I already had the rotors, so I'm using them. Now, what was I going to tell you? Oh yeah, these coils on these little pump motors already have so much wire on them that at 24 volts they'll speed up under 24 volts running the map motor on this thing, they will speed up under load. It's either 24 or it might have been 36, but anyway, they'll speed up under load already because they've got so much wire on them. So there's your generator coils pre-made. All you got to do is get a bunch of these things, stick a rotor on your map motor, and there's your generator, ready to go. Bing, bang, boom. You've got it. So that's for you guys that don't have all the technical skills and all that kind of stuff. The reason I have two plates like this is because no matter how hard you try, getting this shaft perfectly vertical is almost an impossibility. Don't want to say that it is, but it's pretty dang tough. And so I put this plate here, and these big bolts right here, there's a nut and a washer below and a nut and a washer above, and I can tighten or loosen any one of all of these bolts around this outside circle to adjust the angle on my plate to make the plate perfectly level with the rotor, so that this isn't up in the air so high, because that's a very wide path through there. And so if you've got any angle to your rotor at all, you got a really good chance it's going to scrape as it goes through that wide path. And I didn't want that to happen, and so I made an adjustable table that would take care of that. I had 4 bolts out here at the corners to do the same thing, and it turned out it wasn't quite enough. I needed a little bit more flexibility in in my angles, and so I put the bolts around in the middle. Maybe it's a waste of time and energy, but that's what I did. So anyway, there it is, a map motor, modified map motor, turning a rotor with magnets on it, past these already pre-wound coils that you can get down at the, you know, grab them from the hardware store, from the appliance store when they're throwing them away. I got a stack of about 30 of them somewhere on the shelf over there that I've collected over about a 3-year period. So turns out I do build things. I just don't always show you guys everything that I build.